Alright, welcome back everyone. We are continuing with Xyvera today. A little bit of progress on her yesterday, but not too much. Mostly what this is a base coat on her dress, which I did in like a dark purple, and a base coat of the fur around her neck. It's part of her outfit. It's not part of her. Just to sort of see what the plan was and where things were going. And then I started some of the sort of red glow that I want to do on the symbol down here. So what I'm going to continue with right now is putting some shadows and highlights on her dress. So I'm going to mix some of that up. We're going to go with we're going to start with a darker violet here. I'm going to mix in some blue. And we're going to just sort of start placing those in the shadows. First, I'm going to get this. All right. Just mixing up a shadow color here. And then we will pull some of this into the base coat color. Keep snagging up my phone here. And then we're gonna go ahead and start shading some of her dress. I'm gonna put some back here since it's away from the light. Just she actually has a lot of good creases and wrinkles in her dress here that's going to help make this kind of interesting. A lot of this is going to be in shadow anyway. So this is very much like a darker blue violet that I'm working with here. Especially because it seems like the base coat color that I used, which was one of my scale color artist acrylics, is a little bit more like purple grapey rather than violet. It's a good color, it works well. But I'm not really sure that I agree with. I called it a dark violet. So that's what it is, and it's sort of, it turns out looking like this, and it is dark. But I don't, you know, not so sure on the violet part. Yes, colors are different and scary. No, they're not really scary.
They're scary.
Yeah. Xyvera is scary.
This is gonna be nothing but scary Judgement models for a while. Xyvera, Zeal.
I still have to do some commissions in between. I have some Hero Forge models to do coming up. Be nice to get those done. There's so many creases. It's good. Creases are actually kind of easy. More so than some of these like more round-ish forms, because you don't really have to blend them. They're either shadow or not shadow. Under her knee here is mostly going to be in shadow. I'll soften that edge a little. triangle here. We're sort of working right in here. Okay. So I'm putting a shadow here kind of on the top because most of the light, like right in here, is probably going to be coming from the red glow when we get there. So I've highlighted the underside with the red, but then we need to put a shadow on the opposite side. Hey! How are you doing? Good, hanging in there. Now, you've started streaming, haven't you, a little? Thanks, man. I do appreciate it. What have you been working on lately? I mean, I'm home all the time anyway, so that's not really new for her. And Chad works from home once a week, pretty much standard anyway. He's just now home all the time. So I think she's pretty happy. I'm not sure that she feels like all that much has changed. But yeah, she's a good girl. She's taking a nap. She's a weirdo with her head off her bed and on the floor. But yeah, I saw that. I saw that Venom, the comic cover thing. It looks so cool. I have a bunch of the MCP stuff, and I haven't really gotten around to any of it yet. And part of me really wants to do things like that, but then I'm like, well, the other part of me is like, this is a game we're totally gonna play.
We need more X-Men. We need any X-Men.
Yeah, Chad wants X-Men. I think he'd be a lot more into it if there were X-Men.
They are their best heroes.
Says you.
They are. That's just how it is.
Nuh-uh. Spider-Man.
No.
Yep.
Nope.
Love Spider-Man.
Still not as cool as Jean.
Jean is OP.
How is that not cool?
It's like Superman being OP.
No, because she has to use her mind.
Yeah, I do love Gambit.
Right.
Devin says you're right. You're 100% right.
Who says I'm right?
Devonian?
Ah. Man of good taste.
Yeah. Yeah, I collected, Gambit had his own title for a while. At one point back when I was in high school. And I definitely collected that one. I'm trying to get in under her sleeve here. But yeah, I think having any X-Men, mutants, or whatever is probably going to be what it takes for us to like really, really get into MCP.
I mostly just want to see you paint the awesome X-Men models, but yeah, sure.
Well, me painting awesome models awesomely is kind of what it takes to get us into any game anymore, so...
Nah, I'll play Warcaster and paint them and they'll be awesome. Just less awesome.
Alright. I'm just gonna try and get some... Like, her chest is... She's very hunched forward here, because she's an old cow. I'm just gonna try and get some of this shadow in here without worrying too much about blending anything, because it's just gonna be dark anyway. Her Xyvera. I guess she looks a little drowish. But I think that's mainly because I went with the white hair. Just wanted to go with old, you know? It's really ancient and gray, but dark, you know? Not... Try and be scary. Yeah, she definitely has a little bit. So, I used the P3 Asheth Gray as part of the base, and I think that gray actually has a good amount of purple in it. So she definitely has a little bit of that. Of course, like, with the purple clothes. It's probably picking up even more. Give the little angel boy a hug for me. Trying to get some of these shadows in here. She's not the easiest model to... I mean, I probably should have left her off her base, but meh. I like to paint things fully assembled for the most part. Alright, I'm gonna mix a slightly darker shadow color here. So it's mostly going to be the blue violet. I'm going to add a little bit of black and a teeny little bit of green just to sort of dull it out a bit. For this, I'm mostly using my Chimera paints. I really like... so flat out, I really like them. I really like that the color that I think I'm mixing is the color that I'm gonna get, because they're all single pigments. They're not like a bunch of pigments mixed together. So since I like mixing paints, and I know what color I'm going for, I'm more likely for that to be the color that I'm gonna get. Alright, let's get some of these darker shadows here under her knee. So this is a really dark and desaturated violet color here that I've made for some of the darker shadows. These darker creases. Got some rips and tears here that this color is also a good place for that. Hey, Johnny. Yeah, it's a start. I have to actually do like the light source, but yeah, I did a little of that yesterday, and pretty happy with it so far. Creepy, definitely very creepy. I think it's really getting the blood magic vibe that I wanted for her. Red on purple is actually more forgiving than most anything, since purple is kind of half red anyway. And I'm not really gonna be doing any red apart from the glow. So hopefully that'll stand out as like the main sort of warm, vibrant color. I mean, I think with the, the purple's gonna end up looking decently saturated and vibrant itself, but it's dark, so it's not gonna, not gonna draw the attention. Sort of get in underneath here with this darker purple color. There's like this spot under the arm here that I can see that I've totally missed. We have deliveries? Thanks, Johnny. I like to think I make good choices. But sometimes, sometimes things definitely don't always work out. But I think this one's gonna be fine. Yeah, I think it depends too, like what kind of necromancy. Like I said, I played a Death Knight in WoW for a while. I would say she and my shaman are like my two, this sounds funny, my two primary alternate characters. And she was a blood Death Knight, so one of the tanks. And all of those effects are red, so that's kind of what got me thinking. Especially since Xyvera most definitely, like, just has that whole blood magic, life transference kind of stuff going on. Yeah, I definitely, because of WoW, got a feeling of like, well, this kind of necromancy is red, and this kind where you raise a bunch of, zombies or skeletons or whatever, that one's green. And then, like, some of the frosty stuff, that's all blue. So when I get to Fazil, let's just say we've got some serious Arthas vibes planned for Fazil. Yeah, they had that ability is called Path of Frost. So they would literally freeze the water surface that they were walking on. Shamans had a thing just called Water Walk. So they could just do it.
Is that why Thrall's green Jesus?
Maybe. Well, and the funny thing too is sometimes, like, if you were jumping into the water, it wouldn't kill you if you jumped into the water, but if you had Path of Frost on, it would. So I did that a couple times on accident, for sure. I jumped off a thing, like, thinking, oh, I'm going into the water, it'll be fine, but I had Path of Frost up. It was not fine. Yeah. Definitely some funny moments. But now everybody's got that mount that walks on water. Like, that was a thing that you could earn. I sort of dramatically reduced my playing though before I got that thing. It was like a water strider bug. But really, really big. And they came out with that in Mists of Pandaria, like 3 expansions ago, and I just haven't, like, I haven't been back to farm the XP that was needed to get it. And mostly for me, like, my main character is a mage, so I just teleport to the main cities where I want to go anyway, rather than having to, like, walk anywhere.
What good is having magic if you have to walk everywhere?
Yeah, I don't know.
Purpose.
Okay, I feel like I'm close to having enough shadows here. Just kind of gonna bump up in the front. Make sure this overhang has got plenty of shadow in there. Like, we really just want that to be dark. Same, she's got a little bit back here. And this is why I go through brushes quick, because I'm like in here like stabbing into this bit. Yeah, I'm all about the fire. Like, I played way back when, in actual vanilla, not in classic, because I have no nostalgia for that, having played through it once already. Thank you very much. And like I really wanted to be a fire mage all the time. That's just my character. And then getting to endgame and then realizing like I literally could not raid Molten Core as a fire mage because everything was immune. And then I had to go and like spend all that money for a respec. And by money I mean gold. Yeah, it was very irritating. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and make a shadow color, not shadow color, highlight. We're highlighting now. I can't talk in the best of days. I don't know why everybody listens to me.
You are streaming.
So I'm going to start with the dark violet color that I had before. Actually, I think I still have enough of it on my palette. It's just in an inconvenient place. Maybe I'll just sort of scoop it over with my palette knife. There we go, that'll work. Alright, so we're going to mix this with a little bit of the Chimera Magenta. And that'll give us a little bit of warmth and brightness to it without going too close to the red. And then I'm going to pull out a little bit of white. We're not going to use a lot of this because I don't want it to get too pastel. But we do need to brighten it up a little / make it a little more opaque. Because both of these colors here are very translucent. And then honestly, this is still a little too like vibrantly saturated in my opinion, so I'm going to add a little bit of green because it's on the it's a contrasting color. Should dull it down a little bit, and I'm talking like a teeny little hint of green. That's better. So we want it to look kind of like this purple is faded a little. So we don't want it to have it be like super vibrantly pinky. Just a little lighter. Let's see how this goes. May need to lighten it up even a little further still. So this is a pretty subtle transition here. I'm definitely going to need to do more on the shoulder. Sort of just glazing some of this on here. Like I started with a little bit of a red base coat in this whole knee area. But I'm not sure that I wanted the red light to reach up to the top of her leg. Like I don't want it to be a strong, like a super strong OSL. Just enough to sort of show that the symbol's doing some magical thing. And then with these first highlights, I kind of want, I sort of placed a dark shadow, like in some of these creases. And then with the highlight, in order to sort of make that have contrast enough, I have to come right up to the edge of that highlight there. Or shadow. I know what I'm talking about, I promise. Alright. What I'm going to do now is add a little more magenta, a little more white, and a little more green. Just again, because that magenta is really, really vibrant and powerful. And I don't want her to be like, ruin this whole dark, creepy vibe with a super bright, like, happy, vibrant pink. It's not, not the right feeling. And the green helps sort of like knock some of that out. Okay. We're going to work first up on this shoulder, see how this goes. So I think it's a little pastel, but not enough, and like not vibrantly, perfect pretty lilac enough to be like, oh, you know, she's not this dark, creepy character. It's just more like she's wearing a really old dress and it's faded. And I think that's okay. And get a little over here on the front part of this knee, because again, these stick out a bit. So we're definitely not going to get as much of this highlight. And then I'm just kind of trying to hit some of the edges of those high point edges of these creases. Alright, and then this is the back of her ankle. This will have a decent amount of highlight. Because it sticks out a bunch. And then something up here on this torn edge of this sleeve. Kevin. Thanks for dropping in. You definitely had, you know, some of that here and there. Devin of Cutthroat Cure dropped in. Hey, no problem. Yeah, I was like, oh, there's still a bit of this dragon. What if I just took it out and sent it back? Let's see. I use GIMP, so it's free software. But yeah, I was just, you know, I had 5 minutes to play around during dinner while sitting at my computer, and it looks so much like the artwork. You did a great job. So this mini is Xyvera from the 54mm game Judgement. Painted a lot of Judgement stuff. She's super neat. An old Minotaur Necromancer lady. Hey, Justix. So yeah, I'm just working her up to be, you know, leaning into the creepy blood magic Necromancer vibe. Well, the models are absolutely fantastic. And I'm totally more of like the painter than the gamer, but I actually really enjoy the game too. It definitely it's based on online like MOBAs. So and I played Heroes of the Storm because, again, I have a love for all things World of Warcraft-ish. And just the gameplay is so perfectly on point for feeling like they've taken a game, you know, and made it very much their own, but it plays like a MOBA on the table. You know, if, you know, there's a lot of things like you can only do on computers and whatnot, but I think they've done a very good job of translating the genre into tabletop. I think that's about good enough for her dress, at least at the moment. I probably will, like, come back and maybe touch some things up later on, maybe brighten up some of the highlights, but we're good. We're good for now. Like, really dark, creepy purple. So I think what I'm going to do next is just got this cape back here. I think I want to do that in kind of like a faded mossy green. But let's maybe, before I do that, finish. I base coated this ruff of fur here. I can see that I've missed a little So maybe let's finish doing that before I move on to something else entirely. Alright. I'm gonna flip my palette around just because I'm running out of space on this one side, so. Nope. Also, nope. I have this lovely big paint rack over here. And then I like pull colors down and put them on my table anyway.
You'll note she keeps looking my direction out of guilt.
Yeah, I do. And somebody bought me a really lovely paint rack.
Somebody indeed did do that.
I'll pull out some black and some P3 coal black because that is just my favorite color for highlighting. Because I don't want it to end up looking gray. Like I want that to be saved for her fur. So I'm gonna highlight this with the blue. The bluish look. We're gonna stay all very much in like that cool color scheme range, I think, and then should help keep the red be, you know, kind of interesting and focal. Yeah, I can sort of, here, I mean, it is just, I'm going to just turn my camera from, so it's kind of, you know, it's a nice, here, a sort of nice tree paint rack. No, I'll bring it back. But it's great. Holds a lot of paints, which is good because I have a lot of paints. Like, and I'm already feeling like maybe I'm running out of space. And mostly it keeps them off my desk because I don't have a ton of desk space. All right, let's see. Kind of gonna use more of the side of our brush to hit some of the tops of these furs. This is black and coal black mixed together, and it's just a good sort of foundation for where there's going to be highlights and where we're going to leave things in shadow. So I'm concentrating a little more on the top because, again, underneath this is just gonna be dark anyway. You know, we'll get a little in here. And like behind her horns, just gonna be dark. It's fine to sort of leave those things. One of the more difficult things to sort of learn is like when does something actually need work and attention on a model, and when does it not. I have a bunch of models from early on where everything, everywhere, got the same amount of attention paid to it. So like feet and shoes and, you know, things like underneath and inside on the model, they all got the same level of, you know, highlight and shadow and stuff. And now frequently what I do is like, why am I paying attention to this stuff? It's just going to be dark anyway. And then that also helps, like, direct your focus on a model. Like, well, I'm going to put, you know, more attention, more highlights, like, in the face and where it's interesting. And but I did not used to do that. Alright, so this is a coal black, and we're just kind of gonna start picking out some of these. Yeah, knowing when to stop is a really, really important part of doing anything artistic. If you're, you know, painting a watercolor or any, you know when to stop futzing. Although I frequently get to a point on models or whatnot and be like, you know what? I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done now. And frequently, that doesn't mean I'm finished. It just means that I'm starting to feel like maybe I could be done. I think we'll hit that point somewhere when I'm like dealing with the staff for this model. Like, yeah, I still have to finish it, but I could be done. And a few touches in here. Alright, and then I'm going to grab some white. We're going to mix in a teeny little bit of white with this coal black, just to start off with. Like, not very much. And then we'll do one more highlight after that with more white. And this I am going to try and be a little careful with to you know, maybe pick out some of the individual hairs in some of the clumps. And where that seems a little harder, use the side of my brush for, I always heard it called sidelining. So like you're just barely hitting the top edges. It's not dry brushing because this is not anywhere nearing dry paint on a brush. But it's kind of doing the same thing where you're depositing paint just on the highest points and ridges. And it's something I like to do for fur a lot. Especially when it's, you know, really sculpted like this. I want to make sure like the center part gets a little extra light and attention. Just because, you know, when you put this model down on table, you know, a lot of what you see here is going to be like this back part too. So I want to make sure it's at least, you know, mostly interesting, has some good contrast. We will eventually get to this creepy skin cape that she's wearing because, you know, when you're a necromancer, it's just, that's your fashion.
You can use what's available.
Alright. Then we're going to go ahead and do... Black is a little annoying sometimes because you need to do like 3, 4, 5 highlights in order for it to look good. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more white, mix it in to what I previously had. And keep on going. But here I'm definitely trying to, like, pick out little lines more than the larger sections of anything. Just to sort of keep making it look like fur, hair, what have you. Is she whining?
Yeah.
Doggy's just having a dream, I can hear.
The back legs were kicking. Hi, baby. Welcome back.
She's over there dreaming of chasing bunnies. Yep. I know some of you are probably my friends on my personal Facebook, but our dog chased a baby bunny.
Didn't make it.
Baby bunny did not make it. It looked like it was going to be okay, and we put him back in the nest, and yeah. Yeah, we tried, but not, it's nature. Not everybody's gonna make it. And, can't really blame a dog for following their instincts either. Snarkosaurus. Hey, yeah. Yep. Bunny was really cute and tiny, but they're such fragile little things. And honestly, I think it really did look like this one would have been okay, but
You did your best.
Something like that's probably a traumatic experience for a rabbit, and yeah, sometimes they just give up, Yeah.
What? Stegosaurus is Stephanie Johnson.
Right. It would be absolutely terrifying. But yeah, Huskies have a high prey drive. We knew that when we were researching the breed. I'm allergic to cats, so I can't really have cats anyway.
She may have tried to kill a cat or two.
Yeah.
Unsuccessfully.
She gets really excited about seeing cats and stuff in the neighborhood, and
They're not as excited.
no, they are not as excited to see her. Like, we visited a friend with a cat once to see how she would do, and, you know, had her contained and controlled on leash, and it was, yeah, you could tell. She does fine with other dogs, even small dogs. She's like, oh, I know you. You're a dog. You don't look like me, but...
Daisy.
Yeah, my parents have a small dog that she has spent quite a bit of time with. But yeah, bunnies are for chasing. And most of, like, the adult rabbits, she couldn't possibly hope to catch. Like, even a little bit. They are just gone.
It's that pesky fence that gets in the way. She might get it without the fence. Eventually.
That's funny. Max always looks like such a sweetheart. A snuggle bug. Alright, let's see. We're getting there on this little bit of fur. I think I'm going to add one more highlight to, like, the very top section here. Well, so we had a friend who had a similar mix of Chihuahua Dachshund. She just liked to, like, burrow, and I think that's a very Dachshund thing. Is like, I'm just gonna burrow in the blankets and stay there, and it's gonna be my comfy little nest. They're so cute. Sorsha was around her, that dog, growing up a little too, so it was nice. Corrupt away. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. Where's this? Where are we going here? See you around, Snarkosaurus. It was great. Great handle. How this stick is getting in the way. Alright, I can tell as I'm looking at it, I definitely need a little more highlights over here. This part's looking pretty okay. You have to do just a little down here on the sides. I think with some of the previous color that I missed. Again, we don't want to get too carried away. Just enough so that it looks like a little bit of light is getting in there. Alright. I think that was pretty good. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and I think do this cape here. I kind of feel like some of this stuff that she's got around her waist might also be skin-ish. I don't know, it's bumpy, so it's kind of hard to tell. But so for this, I know what I want to do for that, and then we'll tackle some of the rest of it. So I definitely want to try to do a darker mossy green. Like I said, with keeping the red as a focus, sticking with the cool dark colors, you know, just looks Necromancer-ish. And I think because we're going to get some of the, you know, dried leather, that some of that other warmth will come through in that. And Let's maybe add a little bit of this darker blue to it as well. Just a touch. I added just a teeny little touch of a red oxide to it. It's kind of like a rusty red color. Again, just to sort of desaturate. I also find I like to use a lot of like purple and green together. I think they complement each other nicely. And then since all of this is stitched together here, we're going to sort of put some of the green in between. It's like it's sitting on top of this larger cape. So anywhere where there's too much of a gap, the green will show through. So just want to make sure that I'm hitting these bottom and inside edges. This back here is going to be a little rough. I might just see if I can poke some black in there. Yeah, if you ever have spots that are too hard to reach, can't do anything with them, just make sure they're dark. Or I'll skip right over it. That's my mother texting. I ordered to see what she wants, if it's anything important.
It's not.
Nope. Alright, just making sure I've got a good base coat here on this green. I want to make sure that I've got the edges and stuff too. Especially because there's so much, again, lots of wrinkles in this one. All of the things are wrinkly.
When you're a blood mage, you don't have time to do laundry.
I don't know. Well, I highly doubt my grandma was a blood mage of any variety, but she ironed everything. There was, no wrinkles.
There are no irons in Athenian. It was olden time. Maybe by the time they got to Nephi's era, things seemed to have ironed out.
That is actually true. I hate ironing. I hate it so much. I don't think I've ironed anything since. Man, I can't remember. I bought, so for the things that were wrinkly and just really, really needed to have something, I bought a steamer. And I could just hang it up and then steam the wrinkles out without fucking with an iron, because I hate them so much. Alright. Very much tangent Thursday, but yeah. it works. Alright, crud. Dark. Just making you dark. Preferably without fucking up other stuff that I've done. Yikes. Alright. I think I have to fix the edge of the cape a little, but I think that's okay. I'm just sort of gonna make sure that this under here is just dark. Because if you cut, if you catch the model wrong, you'll see it, but nobody's looking at it, so just gonna make sure that it's not like too primer looking and dark. Yeah, that is one of the problem with irons too. Like, you end up putting new wrinkles in them. Just
the problem with ironing is it's dumb.
Yeah. Seriously, my grandma used to iron the bed sheets when they came out of the wash. I'm like, I tell you, I am so glad we are past that era of that being a thing that, I'm expected to do. Just crazy. Alright. We're gonna go ahead and make some shadows. Where did some of that blue go? I had some more. Right? It's for sleeping on. Why, why would that ever have been a thing? And yet it totally was. Alright, so here's the first shadow on the green. I added a little blue, a little more of that like iron oxide, so it's gonna look a little more mossy and not as like saturated. Yeah, for those of you who may be new, welcome to my stream where we talk about all sorts of random nonsense. Hi, Sorsha.
You keep sitting right there by mommy while she's painting. We'll have to get a doggy cam.
I'm sure everyone would love a doggy cam. In order to get a doggy cam, I may need to get a new computer with more USB ports.
What we'll do is we'll set up another account with another stream and put the camera on your other computer, and then you'll just put that in the corner of your OBS.
Yeah.
Sorsha's stream.
Alright, you got some pets. Now I need to keep working. I do. Besides, you're slipping. That is dog fur on my fingers. Hazard of having a husky. Dog fur everywhere. And she so needs like a good bath right now too to get some of that extra undercoat out, and it's just gonna have to wait. I'm not doing that in my tub. Mm-mm. We'd need to call the plumber afterwards. No, she does not like baths. She likes to splash around in water. But like, only if it's on her terms, and not if it's too deep. Like she's such a princess.
She swam to get that one tennis ball by herself the one time. Otherwise, she's cried about it.
Yeah. But yeah, she's not a fan of bath time.
Few animals are.
Yeah. It kind of stresses her out. She won't like struggle or flail or anything necessarily, but she just like shuts down and is like, "Ugh, why are you doing this to me?" Whoa, Genuine. Nice to see you. Welcome everybody. We're talking about my dog. You're working on Xyvera, so this is where we've got so far. Holy smokes, and a whole bunch of new follows too. Let me see. For the Con, Rumble, Bone Shooter 87. Wow, I'm gonna miss some of these. NG Lemonus, Zen for One. Let's see, where's Slurs? Go down. Proxyarp. Alright, I think that's the rest of Robosh 76. Good afternoon, evening, all of you just joining us. The model I'm working on is Xyvera from Judgement. She is a Necromancer Minotaur. Getting some red glow here for some blood magic. She's drawn like a sigil on the ground. I'm currently working on her cape on her back. Putting some shadows in that. How are you all holding up this fine Thursday? By fine, I mean it's totally gloomy here and gross.
It's not that bad.
It's gloomy. Some of the sides, edges with the darker shadow tone here. Then I'm going to mix up a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little more blue. So I have thankfully not been quite that bad about getting outside, but I'm thankful that we have a yard that I can, go out and enjoy. That and the aforementioned dog to walk. She does not do well without exercise. Yeah, it has been a lifesaver during this quarantine stuff. To have a yard, to be able to, walk the dog and get outside and okay, let's mix up a little darker shadow here. A little bit of violet and a little bit of blue in with this more mossy green color. Dark mossy green. Alright, that might be a little too much. There we go. But yeah, I think it's gonna be rough too as this, stay at home stuff extends into May as it gets nicer. I think a lot of people are gonna be too tempted to, wow. My dog is the queen of perfectly timed dramatic sighs. We're going to get some of this darker shade in here. It's got a little bit of purple to it, so in some ways it will echo her purple dress. You know, even though they're not the same color. It just sort of helps tie one thing to the other a little bit here. Yeah, I'm hoping to get Xyvera finished here in the next couple days. She is the second to last Soul Gazer I have for Judgement. The last one will be the dwarf Svetlana, who recently just got a really, really big buff in the game. She is super, super popular now. Alright, just darkening a little bit of these further, and then we'll move right along to some highlights. Just trying to go for a real creepy, you know, dark, creepy vibe. And then, of course, we're going to get, at some point, to this big cloak she has on her back, which, with the primer, maybe it's a little difficult to see, but there's, like, it's like skin with faces and body parts and stuff sewn onto it. Just, you know, Necromancer chic, I guess. Alright. And then for the green highlight, we're actually going to add a little bit of a warm yellow to it. So it's like almost an orange. I should remember when I shake these paints up that they tend to get a little, yeah. It's one of the things about dropper bottles sometimes, or the dropper flip tops. Is you shake them up and then there's like paint in the cap, so it's like super ready to, starts to overflow. Alright, so we definitely are going for like a mossy, funky green here. You know, not like a very vibrant, pure green at all. Yeah, I like a good mossy, funky green. I think, it's always fun to do the super pure, vibrant colors. But sometimes that is just not what a character calls for. I've been doing this other model in these super bright colors. Here, let me see how to grab her. She's one of the infinity ones. So she's also got some like pink and green here. She's like way far, much smaller than Xyvera, a teeny little model. So like, that bright acid green is fun, but it is an entirely different vibe. So yeah, I'm working on this one a bit too, on and off. And honestly, I think her with all that pink, it was maybe more of a challenge than dark and spooky Xyvera has been. Alright, let's add a little bit more of this yellow and a little bit of white just to make it a little more opaque. I'm using these Chimera colors, which are really, really fantastic, but they're a little translucent for sure. And the white that they come with, they definitely recommend to be like, add this if you want more opacity. So we're kind of hitting more of the edges, the super high highlights here. And then this part of the cape where the wrinkles are kind of much more slender. Just gonna trace along the center of these as much as I can. I think we need to do a little more here along the center part. Mikey RR, thanks for the follow. I missed that earlier. We're coming fast and furious there for a minute. And I do think I got everybody else that was a new follower there. Okay, I think we're gonna go for even one more little highlight here, because that's sort of stuck out there. And I want to make sure we got a good level of contrast here. Yeah, there we go. Should help play up some of these wrinkles. Okay, I think that's looking a little better. Like, it's still eerie and creepy. Really still pretty dark. But at least on the tabletop from a bit away, you're going to be able to still see some of that color. Now for the fun part, we get to choose. I'm going to grab some different sort of brownie skin, because the thing is, like, this is dried skin of any sort ends up kind of naturally brown. So I'm going to grab a few different colors of brown just to show that, you know, these are all these gross leather patches on her back are probably from different people that she has sacrificed to her blood magic. So I've got some P3 Idrian flesh and let's grab this Gun Corpse Brown. Yeah, we're headed into the nightmare, nightmare cape territory. And then a little bit too, like, it's just creepy. Like, her stick has a face in it up here. Like, this is clearly somebody's face stretched through her staff. And one of the other creepy things I'm noticing is the face on the back of her cape and down here, those all have their mouths, like, stitched shut. Like, it's so gross. Let's see, let's do one, this Thornwood green. It says it's green in the name, but it's really, I don't know, dark olive color. And do I have? Yes, Battlefield Brown is another good one. So we've got a couple different browns. Sort of work with to make this patchwork skin cloak. It just sounds creepy just saying it. Alright, we're gonna do this bigger section in Idrian flesh. And making some of these, like, different colors too is also going to sell it as, like, maybe not being like from animals. And then I'm purposely leaving the face kind of separate here just so I can, again, do that in a different brown tone. And then it should stand out a little better. This color. This is the Guncore Brown. And then let's do that one again up here. Yeah, I think doing it as a patchwork of different tones helps sell the horror of it. This one's a little more greenish. Like an olive color skin tone or something. And again, there's like a foot sewn on here. Or like it's from a foot and a leg. Because it looks like this just blends. Ugh. It's so gross. It's so, a little disturbing. I mean, it's totally what she is. Like, just creepy hag necromancer who is unbelievably old. I think let's put this. No, I was gonna do that drain flesh up front. Alright, so this is the Battlefield Brown, which we may use as some of the shadow color for some of these other ones. No, I think like this hand is like part of, like, maybe I'm not gonna finish that thought because it's gonna give me nightmares. But yeah, this hand looks like part of this, so we're gonna go ahead and paint. Yeah, it's so it looks to me like many of these are like part of the, as I was going on. At first I thought they were just like parts sewn on, but it actually looks to me like maybe that they were just extra, like the skin is from the other side of the foot or hand or face or part of the like lower leg then, and it's just she couldn't have been bothered to remove the extra body parts, and it's so gross. Like I said, now I'm gonna have nightmares. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't really want to say it, but well, there we are. Yeah. Need a little more of a base coat over here. And yeah, that face is definitely fully incorporated here by the forehead. So we'll base coat the face too. Alright, so we're working on this patchwork, very gross cape. Got a little bit left to base coat up here. Maybe a little too Silence of the Lambs-esque. Okay. I actually sort of like where this, I mean, it's creepy and it's gross, but I do like where it's headed. I was a little concerned when I started, like, picking colors and stuff and being like, oh, I want, you know, I want the red glow to kind of be prominent and a focus, and like, oh, are this skin stuff gonna actually take focus away? And I think so far it fits without being too eye-catching just yet. So I'm gonna grab some Umbral Umber here, and we're gonna make some shade colors. I'm probably just gonna mix several of these in, the Umbral Umber in with several of the skin tones to make a shadow. Yeah, it's just creepy. I don't know, I feel like there must be something in Creature Caster or something that is equally... They have some pretty gross models. I haven't bought any of them because, like, that gross and disgusting isn't normally what I go for. But since I've got it here, might as well go for it, right? I feel like Xyvera is kind of like that, though. the one like fluff story that I've sort of read with her in it is she does kind of just appear, you know, out of the mists and walk into this camp. And it's an orc camp and everybody knows who she is, and they're not fighting, but they're not particularly allies either, but nobody's going to mess with her. Alright, so let's add some shadows to the skin tone. Yeah, and the Judgement orcs are not cowards by any means. I don't know what honey badger tier would be for Judgment. That's such a funny way to put it.
The X-Men hero?
No, like the ones who give no fucks. You guys gonna go for a walk?
Yeah, come on. Well, maybe. I don't know. She's just standing there. Weirdo. Come on.
Apparently I missed part.
We love her.
Love you too. I'm not really. It's supposed to be there. Missed a little bit of the cape as it comes down here. Trying to get some of the shadows in, like where it pulls a little. Okay, so there's highlights on those, or highlights. Guys, it's Thursday. It needs to be the end of the week, and we're almost done here, so the words that are coming out of my mouth anymore may not be accurate. Alright, so let's mix some the umber here for the olive skin tone to make a shadow. That's the one I want. Alright, and we're going to shade under the foot. But yeah, this whole part of the foot here definitely just blends into the skin. And same with, like, it sort of pulls, but the same with over here. There's nothing separate about this foot. Yeah, that Thursday feeling of not being able to do words good. That is exactly it. I'm not really sure that I'm able to do words good when I'm speaking most of the rest of the time, just to be perfectly fair and honest. But yeah, after 3 hours of yapping, I'm definitely at like, what are words now? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like whatever this is, it has not been properly tanned for leather. Alright, so that finishes the shadow on this part. So I've done shadows here, 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 and I still have these 3 to go. However, we are pretty much out of time for today. I'm gonna see if here on my phone if any of my other friends are streaming, since we've got a pretty decent viewers numbers going on here. Maybe we can raid. Let's mute myself on my phone first, because that's weird. But yeah, just see who else might be streaming that we could raid. That's is anybody live at all? Or if any of my viewers have a suggestion looks like Atomic Mass Games is up and running right now with good old Dallas. So let's go ahead and pop in on them. I'm sure he's working on something fun. So I'm just going to make sure that I get Alright, so I want to thank everyone for tuning in with me. I'm going to throw up my ending screen. From there, we will go raid Atomic Mass Games. Because they are streaming on Twitch. I will be back next week, Tuesday evening. Please, if you haven't followed, go ahead and do that. Follow me on the social media, which will be shown here in just a sec, to keep an eye out for when I'm streaming again. Next week we'll be back with some brand new model, maybe something like I've got some Hero Forge stuff coming up that I'm gonna do. A couple of other fun commissions, Arena Rex, more Batman the Game models. So, just want to thank you all for hanging out with me for a bit, and we're going to go ahead and hop over in a raid to Atomic Mass Games. So, don't go anywhere, and you can see what Dallas has.